Hello, friends. This is Christopher Davis-Shannon, and today we're hopping to the middle of the United States. Well, the northernmost middle of the United States, somewhere close to there,
Yeah.
to talk to the wonderful ukulele player and multi-instrumentalist Gerald Ross. Gerald, how you doing today?
Hey, Chris, it's great being here today. It's the middle of the winter here, and you're from the East Coast, right?
I'm in Philly, and I'm actually curious. It might actually be colder here today than it is there.
Well, we're looking for a high of 20 degrees today, Fahrenheit.
I think we're pretty
And
close and have
yeah,
snow on the ground.
but it was 0 this morning when I woke up. And you go outside, you go outside, and the air is so clean.
Yeah.
When it's that cold, you take a breath, you go, "Oh, I'm just going to stay out here all day long." But
I
you
feel like we just never have clean air. That's the
Oh, we have all this Arctic air coming on us now. It's really cold and it's very clean, but you can only stay around 10 seconds and then your body says, this is not the place to be.
Yeah, I know that feeling. Well, before we dive too much into meteorology, would you mind just kicking us off with a tune?
Sure.
Yeah, Gerald, and that's how the blues goes, right?
That's it. I was born with the blues. What can I say?
Yeah, I always tell my students like you want to start soloing, you want to start playing with harmonic forms, like just start with the 12 bar blues, and everyone's gonna be happy.
Oh, yes. And I'm very happy, especially for the first song of the day. This is the first time I
Yeah,
picked this up this morning. You know, don't expect Mozart right now or Bach, you know.
right, right. All right, no one wants that trash anyway. We want
Nah,
the
nah,
good
nah. You
stuff,
can't,
man.
can't dance to it.
Yeah. No, guys, I met Gerald. I guess it was about 2 years or so ago now, over at the Jersey Uke Fest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the oddities about that is at the very end of it, we all did like a tune together, and both you and I ended up on not ukuleles. In that, I was on bass, I believe you were on lap steel
Right.
guitar on that one, and I'm a sucker for lap steel. It's one of my favorite instruments that I do not play at all, but
It's
it's
a
one of the most beautiful things.
well, it's a very easy instrument to play poorly. It really is. I mean, I've studied a lot of different stringed instruments in my life. I started playing guitar when I was 14 years old, and over the years, uh, I picked up the banjo and the mandolin and the bass and the button accordion, the Cajun accordion.
Oh yeah.
I had a brief flirtation for around 10 years with that
Yeah,
in
I have
the
a little
1980s.
concertina up there, actually,
Yeah.
right off to the left.
So I learned with the band I was with. I probably had 5 or 6 songs that I would play when we did a show or something. But the steel guitar, oh my God, that was the most humbling instrument that I know. I picked it up. I started attending the HSGA, Hawaiian Steel Guitar Association, their yearly convention, and those folks were just so friendly to me. They told me what to do, and they showed me what to do, and I thought that was enough. But no, you know, it's the thing is, you know, here this is the little bar that you
Yeah.
use when you play the steel guitar. You know, you slide it along the strings, and everyone thinks, "What's so hard about it? You just slide up to the seventh fret." Well, the thing that's hard about it is when you're sliding up to the seventh fret. If you slide up to 7.2 or 6.7,
Yep.
and
That's me on upright bass right there. We used to do exercises, the vomit exercise. You just start in like half position and you go up a C major scale with one finger trying to make all the
mhm.
shifts. It's one of the most humbling things you can do on
and
an instrument.
and the thing is, out of all the instruments that I've tried to play in my life, the most zen instrument is the steel guitar.
Yeah.
And because the reason I say that is because your hands, your right hand, you know, your left hand with the bar and your right hand with the finger picking, you have to keep those hands as soft as possible. If there's any tension in your body or your arms or your hands, the music sounds terrible.
Yeah.
But if you could just get into that mellow groove where basically when I show people the basics of the steel guitar, I say you have to be an octopus. Meaning you can't have any bones in your body when you play this instrument. You have to be smooth and round. And I usually know if I'm having a good night or not when I'm playing
Yeah.
that instrument.
Now, have you gone down the pedal steel rabbit hole as well, or because
No.
that's a level of dedication and dance moves that most people don't have.
Yeah, it's that's the people who are there the people who play this pedal steel guitar, you really need a you are forced to learn music theory
Yeah.
when you play the pedal steel because you start thinking about, okay, well, this chord is going to morph into that chord, so what notes do I need to morph into that chord? And uh, and also those things weigh a ton. I mean, I see pedal
Oh yeah.
steel guitar players carrying in their instruments with a hand truck, you know, and they weigh a ton. If you have a gig, they take a half hour to set up. At 2 o'clock in the morning, when you're done with the gig, there's another half hour. Everyone's
Yeah.
at the bar drinking and eating burgers, and you're sitting there taking apart your steel guitar for a half hour. So there's a number of reasons I don't play that instrument.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I mean, that's like a dedication issue. So like the guys who still bring a Hammond B3 and a Leslie
Yeah.
to the gig just
Hmm.
for authenticity. God bless you for that.
And the lap steel, it seems to be more organic sounding to me. It feels more you are actually playing the strings.
But it's also
You
not a
are,
robot, which helps.
yeah. You know, uh, if you really want to get a pedal steel guitar player upset, what you do is when they're playing or on their break, you go up to them and go, "Wow, that's a really interesting instrument. What is it?" And they go, "Well, it's a pedal steel guitar." And they, well, how does it work? And you go, well, you put your bar down here and you pluck these three strings and you get a major chord. And then you step on this lever and you move this knee lever over there and it turns into a minor chord without even moving the bar. And then you pick these strings and you see, you don't even have to move the bar. And you look at them and go, oh, so it's like an auto harp.
Yeah.
They don't
The
like
most insulting thing
that.
you could ever say.
Yeah, but I shouldn't get down on auto harps. There's some very accomplished players out there.
There are. And auto harp is such a cool, nostalgic instrument. We always had one around the house when I was growing up, because my mother was a public school music teacher. So it was like
Hmm.
something from her class home that she'd bring home. I remember playing that when I was a kid. It was nice to go put down the chord, strum, chord, strum.
Hmm.
Fun little one. I'm curious, when in your musical journey did you find the ukulele? Because you said you started out on guitar and then banjo, so I'm assuming it came a bit later in the
Well,
progression.
actually, the uke was my first instrument that I didn't buy. What I mean by that is I was in sixth grade or seventh grade. I went over to my friend's house, and he said, "Look what I have." And he goes to the closet and he pulls out a ukulele that was just sitting in their closet, and he strummed a couple chords. He didn't strum a couple chords. He strummed the C chord on it. That's about all he
Just a
knew.
step above a C6.
Right. And he said, "You want to try it?" I tried it. And I go, "Oh my God, this." He says, "You want to buy it?" And I said, "Yeah, how much?" He said, $10. And this was 1968, 69, and $10 was a lot of money,
Yeah.
So I went to my parents that evening and asked them for the money, and they said, "Forget it, we're not going to." So then I was just shut down immediately. But then I started the guitar, and I started when I was 14. I had my first paying gig when I was 15 and a half. It was with our high school rock band, and we played a dance at the school. And after the dance, we only knew four songs, and so we played the same four songs over and over again. But the kids didn't mind at all because
Yeah.
they were out of the house for the evening. That was the most important thing for them. So we played. At the end of the night, the lady who hired us put $11 in my hand. And I looked down, I said, $11. I had the time of my life. The girls were talking to me, and I've got $11. This is the life for me.
Life is finally good. It's all thanks to music.
Yeah. And then, I got a banjo and a mandolin, but most of my ukulele playing was when I worked at Elderly Instruments,
Oh, yeah.
the world famous music store up in Lansing, Michigan. I worked there from like 78 to 82, selling instruments. And when you work in a store like Elderly, where they sell mandolins and banjos and fiddles and guitars and dulcimers and harmonicas, you have to know how to fake the instruments. You have to know how to make the instruments sound good so the beginning player who is there with their parents or whatever know, oh, wow, that instrument can sound good. So it was that way with the uke. In the banjo, I could fake the banjo really well. That's it. People who don't know bluegrass or old time music know that I'm faking it.
Yeah, you learn a
But
forward roll and a backward roll, and you can impress
yeah,
people.
but for people who don't know the instrument, man, they think I'm the greatest in the world.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I did it at Elderly. You had to be able to fake the instruments.
Yeah, and then when did it become? Because I think a lot of people think of it as sort of what you're known for in probably about like a third of your career maybe is like uke stuff now. So when did
Yeah,
it become more of a primary focus for you?
it it in 2005, I was looking for an instrument. I wanted something small that I could leave on the coffee table,
Mm.
in case I had a musical idea, instead of reaching for a big guitar, I said, okay, I'll just get a uke. The top four strings of a guitar are just like the top four strings of a uke, so the same chord shapes are usable. So I got a uke, and after a mail order uke for a couple $100, and after a while, I had a repertoire of songs that I worked out, little chord melody things. And I went online, and in 2005, I didn't know about this ukulele world.
Yeah.
I thought I was the only person in the world still playing the uke. But that was at the beginning of the internet, when the internet was starting to go everywhere. And I noticed there was flea market music run by Jim Beloff and his crew. Uh, they had a forum, and I noticed that people were posting little tunes that they recorded. So I had all this recording stuff in my basement. There's some of it back here, and I recorded two songs, put them up on flea market music, and literally within 15 minutes, I had my email box was full. Do you give lessons? How long have you been playing? Who are your influences? Things like that. People asking. I go, whoa, this is bigger than I thought. And then a day later, I got an email saying, "Would you like to play at our festival?"
And you
And
say
I said,
ukulele festival? What's that?
"Yeah, it was a festival in Indianapolis." I said, "Okay, Indianapolis, that's a 4-hour drive or something for me." No, and I went down there and I met all these people, and they said more and more festivals, and it just fell into my lap. I wasn't trying to become a ukulele star, it just happened. So, and I'm happy for it because in the past 15 years, it's 2020 now, in 2000, yeah, in the past 15 years, I've traveled everywhere.
Yeah,
Well, I haven't gone to Asia or Australia yet, or Africa, or South America, but
well, plenty of time.
right.
And actually,
And
speaking of your travels, Gerald, you got stranded at a little after this time last year, didn't you? I remember following your posts about being stuck
oh, yeah.
in Spain. Oh, how terrible, stuck in Spain. But
Well, it's my wife's a physician, and she was going over to Spain to collaborate with a hospital there. Okay, and it was going to be a couple week collaboration or so. And when we got there, we she went to the hospital, met the guy. Guy says, "Great, we love having you here. Start the next morning." And the next morning rolled around. He called her and said, "Sorry, we've got 3 patients in the hospital with COVID. We can't let you in." So,
no.
I turned to my wife. I said, "Okay, that's a disappointment, but we're here for a month. Let's turn it into a vacation. We could fly to the coast of Portugal, rent a hotel there, stay on the beach for a couple days." And that didn't happen. we were stuck in a 250 square foot apartment for 7 weeks or so, and I recorded some tunes. That was the nice thing about it. But it was an experience. Our marriage survived it. We made when we realized we were in this for the long haul. We said, okay, we have to be very polite with each other. We have to say please and thank you all the time, because emotions might get a little elevated during this time together. So we survived. But I had my iPad, and I had a little portable microphone, the one I'm using today, and a USB mic, and I had also had a handheld recorder. I recorded 4 tunes when I was there, and you could find them on YouTube. Just
We'll link to them below in the
Yeah.
description. I'll have a link to Gerald's YouTube channel down. There's a lot of great tunes on there besides the Spain tunes.
So we finally got home. We were there for 2 months, and
Jeez.
our flights home were canceled 8 times. And then we finally lucked out and got a flight home. We flew home on a big 747 airline from London to Chicago to Detroit. But anyway, on a 747 from London to Chicago, there were 9 passengers on board,
Wow.
and we were 2 of them. And they wouldn't let us sit in first class. I know. I was. They wouldn't let us.
Oddly enough, the only time in my life I've ever been upgraded to first class was because one of the flight attendants overheard that I was touring with a band and we were musicians, and he was a musical theater major in college, and he just comes over and he goes, "Got 2 extra seats in first class. You guys want them?"
Right.
Yes. The rarity.
So it was a learning experience. Would I do it again? No. But the Spanish people were very friendly to us. We were allowed to go. We were allowed to go to either the grocery store or the pharmacy. That was it. And whenever I went to the grocery store, I just kind of point at things. I can, my Spanish vocabulary is probably 15 words, and so I would point, and they were just so friendly to me. They knew that I was not from there, and so it was. The Spanish people were very nice.
I'm glad it was an overall good experience. That could have been terrible. Imagine if you didn't have an instrument with you.
Yeah.
That would have been hell on earth.
I would have built one out of rubber bands, just something to make noise.
For the next lockdown project, we'll get
Right.
you a rubber band and a box and maybe a 2x4 get you something. Well, with that, would you mind gracing us with another song, Gerald?
Yeah, the first tune I played was with the low G. I'll play something on high G now.
All right.
Okay, this one is a high G. The uke I'm using was built by uke builder named Dave Talsma. He lives here in Michigan. He built this for me in 2005 or 2006 when I said, okay, if I'm going to play these festivals, I've got to impress the audience with a cool looking uke. So he he built this for me, and look at that wood on the back. That's all nice koa there. So this is a high G, and I recorded this tune. And if you go out to Bandcamp, I have a little page on Bandcamp, which is getting bigger by the week. I put this tune on Bandcamp. That's not the right harmony. Let's try the right one. That's it.
There are no wrong harmonies, simply
I know.
reharmonizations, right?
That one. Oh, you could use that somewhere, but not in that song.
Yeah. There's a, there's no wrong notes, right? It's
Right.
just how you resolve it.
Well, if you keep the beat going,
Amen.
the audience doesn't know, and they think you meant to do that.
And that is a huge lesson for anyone listening.
Yes.
If you don't stop, no one's ever going to know the difference.
Right. I tell a lot of my students, they go, well, how do you get up on stage and perform? I say the first thing you have to do is never apologize.
Yes.
Never go up there on stage and go, well, I want to play this song for you, but it's got a couple chords that are hard to play, and I hope I get through the second. I hope I don't forget the words, there's this one part of the song where I should play up to speed, but I can only play it's. The audience doesn't want to hear that. The audience is not your therapist. And you're also setting yourself up for failure. The audience is saying, I don't want to hear this song,
Yeah, one of the things that I always drill into my students about performing is you have to go in with the implicit knowledge that you are going to screw up. No one's perfect, and that's okay. You can know that you screwed up 10 times. It's all about just fooling the audience into them not knowing that you screwed up.
And 99,
not stopping.
Yeah, don't stop. Keep the beat going. And 99% of the time, the audience is cheering for you. The audience wants to have a good time. So
unless you've done something heinous to them in the past
right.
hour or so, they don't want you to screw up.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be supportive. That's why they're there, is to just listen to music.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of performing, actually, you're hosting a solo competition with Kathy Fink and Marcy Markser through Martin Guitars.
Yeah.
Coming up, and is it just ukulele?
Yes.
That are in
there? Marcy and Steve Kaufman. Steve Kaufman is very big in the bluegrass and old timey world, and he has
cream.
Pardon me?
The flat picker supreme.
Yeah, and he
Fun.
has in the summertime, he has a camp a music camp in Tennessee. I did it once. It's a fun time. It's a week-long camp. So he and Marcy are doing this thing where these worldwide string instrumental or string contests. One for uke, one for guitar. I don't know about other instruments, but it's open to anyone in the world. $20 to, I mean, $20 to for your entry fee if you're under, if you're a kid. I don't know if it's 14 or 15, but you could enter for free. And there's going to be a panel of celebrity judges. Sarah Maisel, I think Craig Chi, Ben Hassinger. Who else is on there? Uh, I wasn't expecting to answer this question today, so I can't remember everyone's name. And you know they will judge the three different categories, and you can go on the webpage and find it for the categories. And on March 6th, Saturday night, coming up like a month from now, Marcy and I, Marcy Markser and myself, we will be the celebrity hosts for the awards ceremony, and we will give out the awards. I'm thinking of renting a tuxedo for it.
Yes, do it. Do it.
Yeah,
Oh, when in doubt, always wear a tux.
right.
My philosophy.
But it's fun, and you know I think there are cash prizes. You know I haven't even looked at the prizes. You know I
It's
was
something
just
I've been thinking about. Actually, I talked about with a few of my students. Is as much as I miss performing and being on stages, I think it's just as hard for people that play casually and occasionally go to open mics and things like that to have just no performance outlet whatsoever. Even if this isn't what you do for a living, performing is an experience, and I think a lot of people feel robbed of that last year. So things like this are
hmm
really great to be able to perform, even if it's in a virtual setting. And I'm really glad this is happening. So besides this little contest that's going on and all that, what else have you been doing? The last 6 months or so of being locked in the basement with like the rest of
Well, for the last 6 months, I've been exploring the world of autonomous cars.
us. Ooh,
And
fun.
what I mean by that is that right now, with this pandemic going on, my car only goes to Costco, the post office, and the liquor store. That's it.
Yeah,
I
the
I
only
mean
important places in the world.
the car drives itself. I don't know how it does it. It just so that's what I've been doing for 6 months.
See,
But
I've actually forgotten how to drive, so I
right.
need some tips on that.
But actually, what I have been doing is I've got all of this very nice recording equipment. I have good microphones. I've got good monitor speakers. I've got Pro Tools software. I've got all these cool little things. And for the past 15 years, I've just been brute forcing my way through. Flip it up to 10. Sounds good. Oh, too
Yep.
much. Turn it down to 9. And because I didn't have the time to actually study the hardware and the software.
Oh yeah,
For
and that's learning a whole new instrument. I mean, just working a compressor is an art form
yeah,
in and of
right.
itself.
And I've actually been taking the time instead of and when I read an article about how to do something, instead of just skimming the first line of every paragraph, I actually read the entire article. So that's been fun to be actually learn something and use this time.
Absolutely. Yeah, and actually I've been doing similar things. I just finished engineering and mixing a record for one of my friends that we did in little trio record we did in an apartment. And I have not mixed an album from start to finish in probably 10 years. I'm a performer, not a not a
hmm
studio guy whatsoever. But it gave me such a different perspective on the entire process and how these sounds are really made. I think it's cool to understand.
Yes.
You listen to a record and now you start to get that little inkling of, oh, that's the knob we need to turn to make this happen. It's
But it
really.
also, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
it also helps your live performances as well because you know where the frequencies are.
Yes.
When you start to hear something funny coming out of your amp or out of the speakers, you know that okay, there's a little bit too much 300 in there. Let's
Yeah.
cut it a little bit. So it's good.
Yeah, and understanding how to make your instrument sound good is so hard. I mean, amplifying ukulele in general is not. the easiest thing in the world. And I think you're endorsed by Henriksen, right?
Yeah.
Amplifier. That's who
Mm-hmm.
I use a Bud myself. I found it just hands down the most incredible amp for acoustic instruments. I play electric guitar through it.
Yeah.
Well, with like I have a was a Nocturne Junior Barnyard, which is like an old EL34 circuit kind of thing.
Yeah.
To dirty it up. They're just incredible amps. And actually, if you wouldn't mind letting the people know, what is your live amplification setup when you're performing you? Because I think it's something a lot of people struggle with.
Well, it depends where I'm performing live. If I'm performing live at a venue that I can drive to, then I bring my own amplifier,
Yeah.
and I don't have to worry about things fitting into the overhead of a plane.
Right.
So I'll take the Bud amplifier with me if I'm playing locally or within. I consider anything within 200 miles a local gig.
Yeah.
So I'll take the Bud and I'll set it up on stage, and the sound guys who have never seen it before, they go, okay, he's got an amplifier, and they put it up on a chair next to me without me knowing, and the amplifier is not. Yeah, the amplifier is not made to be up in the air. It has to be on the floor.
Yeah,
and
bottom ported. It must be.
Yeah, so I use that, and I'm happy with the Bud. And let's see what else. When I'm on the road, I just have a little pickup in all my Ukes are electrified with a
okay, yeah.
MySci. I use MySci pickups. I'm also an endorser for them as well. And I'm very happy with my size. And the thing is, people get into criticizing pickups, and well, I think once you get past a certain price point in pickups, they all pretty much are good.
Yes,
they're all, and all of them. There is no pickup that makes your ukulele sound acoustic.
No,
it colors the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for a uke, I think a pickup's a very good idea because it fattens up the sound a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. And especially if you know how to use it. Like if you're running into an amplifier that has the correct impedance to handle an acoustic pickup is another big thing. I've had students that plug their piezo pickup in for the first time to an electric guitar amp and go, why is this sound bad? Well, they're not playing nice together. They're not made for it. Yeah, I'm a microphone guy through and through myself, but a vast majority of that is because I play a tiny soprano, and hand holding, jack in the side, it just doesn't. It's really hard for me. And I, when I'm at festivals, I'm generally playing solo. That's fine, but I do have a pickup for my banjolele that I use because sometimes you can knock pickups all you want, which I do sometimes, but they're a necessary evil in our line of work.
Yes.
And they make life a lot easier from a sound perspective.
Right. And when I'm at a festival, if I fly to a festival or a music camp, I trust the sound guy. Yeah. Most sound people today are good. and that wasn't true 20, 30 years ago. But most people today who are the dedicated sound people for a venue, they know what they're doing, and I respect them. They know their room, and they'll say, "Well, I have to give you a little bit more in this room, a little bit more 500K or whatever. I have to give you a little bit more of that." And I go, "Well, that's going to sound." And they go, "No, I know this room," and I say, I just trust them. I don't tell them what to do. So I let them do their job.
Like being told what to do either is the thing, which is fair. I mean, as you said, if you work the same room and the same equipment night after night, that better than anyone else walking in the room, and you got to have faith in your sound person. It's very important to just trust them that they do know what they're doing, and even if another big thing is, even if your monitor mix doesn't sound perfect, that doesn't mean it doesn't sound incredible in the mains.
Yeah, I agree.
The monitor mix is always a compromise as well. What we hear on stage is not what the audience hears, and that's something to think about when you're amplifying your ukulele. And with that, would you mind playing us one final tune, Joe?
Sure. Yeah.
Gerald, thank you so much for joining me today and chatting and playing some tunes for us. Greatly appreciated. For everyone listening, we're going to drop links in the description to Gerald's Bandcamp and his website and his YouTube and everywhere that you could ever wish to find him. So again, thank you very much, Gerald.
Well,
Appreciate it.
thanks. It was a lot of fun today. Thank you.
Thanks. If you wouldn't mind, could you just give us a little bit of exit music to get us out of here?
Okay, let's see what kind of exit music.